Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Thoughts from the Round Table. As you can tell by the title, we're not reviewing a movie this week. That's because there aren't really any movies coming out lately. You know, we like going to the movie theater a lot, and now that we can't, it's like you're crushing our dreams.
It really
So we've
is.
decided we're gonna do our 10 best movies to watch while you're quarantined.
Because I feel like, we did the Tiger King podcast as like if you're bored, check this out. But, Tiger King can only last so long. Like, at some point you need something of substance. You need a little bit of movie. You know what I'm saying? You hear me?
I do. And I think that our 10 movies we put together is just a great, fulfilling adventure of story. So without further ado, guys, please join us at the round table. So I'll just go ahead and start. Let me pull my trusty dusty notebook here. I'll just go ahead and start with a personal favorite of mine. This movie Pierce has never seen, and it's a real shame because of it. And that's The Departed. The Departed is a mobster movie with a star-studded cast of Leonardo Dicaprio, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, Jack Nicholson. And it's got a great ending. You know, all mob movies, the Inside Family, da-da-da-da-da, everyone knows. But this one, so well acted, such a great story, such a great ending. I can't recommend it enough. It's on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, it's free. It's pretty long, but other than that, I don't think there are really that many flaws in it.
Well, that's interesting. I'm gonna tell you one thing, and that's that Leonardo DiCaprio rubs me entirely the wrong way. I don't know what it is about him. Maybe his face, maybe his hair, maybe his voice. Do you know what I'm saying? He makes me so uncomfortable to look at.
I think you're jealous of his beauty.
I don't think that I'm jealous of his beauty.
He is the most beautiful man on earth.
That's just objectively false.
You know what? You're just a DiCaprio hater. And us DiCaprio stans won't stand for it. He's one of my favorite actors. I'm putting my fist down because I would put my foot down, but the video can't see it, so I'll put my fist down instead.
You're right there. I stand only one person in this world, and it's definitely not Leonardo DiCaprio. I'll tell you that for a fact.
Who would it be?
Of course, it would be Logan from Big Time Rush.
Okay.
Logan from Big
We're
Time
there
Rush
already.
is the most beautiful man on earth. No one can at me. Okay? I want you all just to look me in the eyes and tell me that I'm wrong. Okay? Just
This wouldn't be a roundtable podcast without us getting off topic. So did you see they all got together at a Zoom meeting?
Dude, I did. It was so good.
Well, I don't know if it was good, but it sure was fulfilling for us Big Time Rush fans.
No, dude, it was good, okay? A lot of celebrities have been getting together on the stupid little Zoom things and telling everyone, to stay inside, blah, 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 and it's usually pretty disingenuous because, they're in mansions. They don't need to, go out and work to make money. So they can say oh man, life is so hard here in my mansion with my butlers and my beautiful foreign tennis players. But but Big Time Rush came out of the park. We haven't seen the band in forever, right? They came out of nowhere. Just a quick message. They were like, hey, stay indoors. Goodbye. And boom, I'm telling you, I'm not leaving the house ever again. You can thank Carlos for that.
Why don't we just get to the next movie?
Okay, I'm gonna go. And this is something I'm sure all of you guys already know. You've probably heard it a million times. But if we're giving you movies to watch, this one's gotta be on the list, and it's Revenge of the Sith. Our goal was not to give a lot of series, but more of if we wanted to do a specific series, just do one, the pinnacle of that series, perhaps. That's Revenge of the Sith for the entire Star Wars franchise. Best movie. You can't, it's so good. Is it poorly acted? Yeah. Is the plot shaky sometimes? Maybe. But it is the most, like, emotionally draining movie of the entire Star Wars franchise. It's the first Star Wars movie that I saw in theaters, and it will hold a special place in my heart for till the end of time.
Yeah, it was also the first Star Wars movie I saw in theaters. I think most of my love for this movie, other than from Clone Wars, comes from nostalgia. Like, I'll never forget seeing Revenge of the Sith in theaters with my dad and my uncle Matt and my brother. It was great. I'd do it again.
Oh yeah, that's probably the. Well, I would say that that's the best theater experience of like my life, but it's not. I just there's about 3 movies that I can think of that have a better theater experience than that. But that is the best theater experience of my young life.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I have a few that might top it though.
Yeah, nothing beats Endgame in theaters.
Yeah,
Nothing
that was a
ever will.
No, I don't think so. That's not on my list personally, but wow, was it a good theater movie?
Yeah, I don't even think it's like even close to the best Marvel movie. But
No, I don't think it is either.
as like a movement, as like the culmination of so much that so many people loved, and everyone was in there and they were cheering and they were clapping and crying, and it was just an emotional roller coaster of a theater experience.
Yeah, it was great. I was crying.
Jacob was ugly crying.
I looked over to make sure that no one was looking at me when I was ugly crying, and just at that moment, Pierce looks over at me, and I'm like, "Oh no!" But
If any movie justifies it, it's that one though.
yeah, I agree. I want to get to my next movie,
Yeah, go for it.
and in this movie, Pierce just said it. I think we both just love series. You know, a ton of my movies on here are series, and I decided to pick the best one from one of the most important series of my young adult life, which is Harry Potter. And my favorite of them is the 8th movie, Deathly Hallows Part 2. And that was because, one, this was also a pretty good theater, because this is the first time that me and my brother saw a movie without our parents. Oh, spooky. But yeah, there's a couple scenes in this movie that make me choke up. So it's hard to beat this movie. I think this is my favorite movie of the series, even though I don't think Deathly Hallows was my favorite book, but I do think it's my favorite movie.
I think that's fair.
I think if you haven't watched the Harry Potter movie series / read the books, what are you doing? Just
There's no way. People don't really exist that haven't seen the movies. At
they
least.
just sit down and watch them. This is a perfect time to do it. So that's why this movie is on my list, but I recommend all of them.
Yeah, I think that's when we give a series, most likely we're just picking out one from a beloved series. But look, you got tons of time on your hands. I got tons of time on my hands. I'm gonna tell you that for a fact. I watched all of Game of Thrones in 2 weeks. So I mean, if that tells you anything, but yeah, just check out Harry Potter. I mean, if you haven't seen Harry Potter, so
it is good. It's worth a watch.
Yeah. With that, I guess we'll go to one of my movies. And I wanna make this known, right? On my list, I have 2 Batman movies. I'm a Batman fan. What can I say? But the one movie that outshines the rest, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking he's gonna say Dark Knight. Wrong. Lego Batman movie. Probably the pinnacle of animation. When I say that no movie has ever made me laugh that hard, that consistently, I'm being 100% genuine. It is such a joy to watch it every time. There'd be times where I'm like, I'm not feeling Lego Batman. Gosh, do I really want to pop in this children's movie? And then they get to the first song, and he's singing about not paying his taxes, and I am like, yep, I love it. I'm not gonna stop watching it.
Yeah, I think this movie just is so good because it has a little bit for the entire family. It has jokes that like go right over kids' heads, but like that parents just love. And so if you're right in that awkward age, you like especially find it funny. Even like when you grew up with like Legos in general, like the Lego video games, and now you're used to seeing pretty much this type of animation. You're like, well, I love this.
Yeah. Also, I've heard an argument be told that this is the most like accurate to Batman's real character we've ever got in a movie. And at first I kind of scoffed at it because it's really exaggerated, but honestly, they kind of make a point. Like, this movie really understands Batman. Like, if you're a Batman fan, there is so much to appreciate about this movie. Especially, like, compared to the other versions of Batman we've got of recently. Like, of course, Dark Knight is an unbelievable interpretation. It's probably, I don't know, it might be the best Batman. It's hard to say. But, like, comparatively to Batman v Superman Batman, Lego Batman outshines him every single time.
Yeah, I think Lego Batman, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Lego Batman feels more like a Batman movie than Batman vs Superman.
Yeah. Batman v Superman just really doesn't understand Batman at all.
That being said, I don't hate the movie.
I don't either. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think that if they got rid of the Doomsday part of that movie, you know what I mean? Like when they just kind of threw in him randomly and then it went from Batman v Superman to Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman v Doomsday, I think the movie would have been a lot better.
I agree. So our next movie is one that is near and dear to my heart. You know, as a basketball lover from Southern Indiana, few movies hit home like Hoosiers does. And, you know, I love sports, especially basketball. You know, I've been to Milan before. I've seen the gym. The Pacers have the Hickory unis. You know, everything. This movie embodies Indiana basketball. And this is undoubtedly the best basketball movie ever made. And come at me if you think I'm wrong. But I know I'm right. I know I am. So, if you like basketball at all, or Indiana culture in general, this is a must-watch movie. So good. So good. So good. Watch it.
So, I gotta say, right? My only experience with the movie Hoosiers is, did you ever have Academic Super Bowl in middle school?
No, we didn't have a cafeteria. What makes you think we had Academic Super Bowl?
Okay, well, we had Academic Super Bowl, and my mom, like, forced me to join, and it sucked. But the best part of Academic Super Bowl was, you know, at the very end, when you and the boys got a little bit of a pizza party, and you watched a movie. And I always looked forward to that because the movie was always kind of, like, vaguely related to that year's topic. And so we've been constantly studying this one topic for like an entire year, and then we get to watch a movie that makes that topic slightly less boring. And then we got, I think this was my 8th grade year, the most boring topic probably on Earth, and that's Indiana history, right?
Yikes.
Indiana, fine state. I live there, you know? There's some cool places. You got the Indiana Dunes. You got Gary. That's a shithole. But for all Indiana has that's good, it is so boring. And spending an entire year learning about Indiana lore is not fun. And so, to top that all off, we got to watch, you know, the Indiana movie, Hoosiers. Let's go Hoosiers, you know what I mean?
It's a great movie.
Great movie, Probably. But was everyone at that point so angry in my 8th grade class that we automatically hated it? Yes. I would like to watch it again because I actually feel like it's probably pretty good. But we were like legit like throwing stuff at the smartboard because we're like, turn this off. No more Indiana.
Yeah, I could see that. Indiana, not great lore builders behind the state.
Yeah, no, dude. Indiana has some weak lore. Like, out of all the 50 states, there's not much there.
Yeah, out of all the states to be born in to have a history class, because 4th grade is Indiana history, just not great. You learn about Native Americans, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Oh, in case you didn't know, to interrupt you real quick, Abraham Lincoln lived in Indiana as a boy.
Dude, I did know that. You know how I knew that?
How?
From the greatest musical on earth. Do you remember Indiana? The Bicentennial Musical?
What a great musical. Do you know we have that at my local library?
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh man, we're off topic. Anyways, this is a story that has to be told.
It has to.
It has to be told, right? What is this? Sophomore year, I think, right?
Yep.
Sophomore year. In our school, they do a play every year where we get in the buses and we head off and we dress up and we go to a play. And it's usually really exciting, if for no other reason than we stop at Chick-fil-A and we get a day off school. And so, you know, everyone's excited because this has been a hype moment. And we're told that we're going to go see the play about Indiana this year at the IRT. And we're like, oh, Indiana, that's kind of lame. Boy, were we right. We go to this. We sit down at the theater. This has to be probably the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Can you attest to that? That it's horrible.
I can. It is just awful. Just the story is wild, but not in a good way. In a way that doesn't make any sense. And I feel like, you know, I've lived in Indiana for all my life, almost 20 years. And I can say that almost all of the stories I didn't know about. Like, where were they looking to be like, you know what? This would be a good story to put on here.
Who was the man?
I guess that...
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I guess that's just what the talent that Indiana breeds in its playwrights.
The genius man who decided to spend 10 minutes on a song about the Indy 500 where they just went around and 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 go. Listen, video viewers, you can see me. They were just sitting in like these wooden chairs. Like imagine me in a wooden chair right now, and they were just shaking them round and around, you know, like they're racing. And then there was this one part where this woman came out, and I guess she was pretending to be a Native American woman, and it would probably been a pretty cool story, except for the fact that she dramatically like shot bow and arrow, but not really. She would just pull back like with her hands and be like, and it was so stupid.
I think the worst part of this was it was like almost more than 2 hours.
It was so long.
Yeah, it was the longest play I think I've seen. And we saw Lion King on Broadway.
I don't know if it was just like literally that long or if because it was so boring that it felt like time was just going at a snail's pace. But
yeah. I would not watch that play again.
I would.
Almost every other play I've seen, I feel like, yeah, I'd go see it again. It was pretty good. Not that one. That was awful. It scarred me. It made me hate plays for a few months.
All right, so getting away and slightly back on topic. We got my next movie. And you are probably at this point realizing that I'm a tad bit of a nerd. Because our next movie we're gonna do is Fellowship of the freaking Ring, dog.
What a film.
What a masterpiece.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any flaws in this, to be honest with you.
It is such like a marvel of filmmaking. Like it revolutionized CGI. It the score is just unbelievable. The sets, unbelievable. The shot composition that they were able to make, how they didn't like when they did the scenes with Gandalf and the hobbits, they were on different sets that were all moving to create forced perspective. It was crazy. That if you haven't seen the behind the scenes bit of Lord of the Rings, watch it. It will blow your mind. Shots that you didn't even think were possible, this movie pulled off and did just excellently. And honestly, I gotta say, you guys are gonna hate me. I'm a bit of a late bloomer to this fandom, right? I didn't watch Lord of the Rings till last year. I didn't even care about it till last year. But I read the books and then I watched the movies, and it quickly became one of my all-time favorite movie book experiences, lore experiences, video game experiences. This has it all. Second to probably only Star Wars for me.
Yeah, I think that's super, super, super fair. Because few movies make me feel the range of emotion that I feel when watching this series. It's such a perfect, timeless story. Like, I think people can even watch these movies now. Not only does the CGI hold up pretty well, really well, actually.
Really well.
Do they say, this is one of the most interesting storylines ever. And those movies, when we look at them like 50 years from now, we'll be like, wow, they were able to do that with that awful of technology. You know, it's like the way that we look at movies without, like some of the movies without color or without sound. We're like, these were unreal for their time. That's the way we're going to look at these movies.
Yeah. I think we should almost be thinking of, like, I'm almost thinking that now because I watched those behind the scenes. And they're editing this movie on big, ginormous white dinosaur computers. You know, probably running, like what is it called? Windows, the one before, like Windows Accept. What was that called?
I don't remember what you're talking about, but
it's on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's the Windows before Windows became like streamlined. It was pretty bad. Like, the fact that they were able to do this, the fact that the CG was all hand done, like, so Andy Serkis, the guy who played Gollum, for example, he did all, like, he didn't wear one of those motion suits that they wear now. He just acted it out, and the animators went in and hand did him, which is unreal for that time. That's unreal now that they were able to do that. There's a scene where he is frolicking and, like, splashing through a creek. And somehow, they managed to, like, make the water react to someone who just wasn't there. It truly unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And, in case you were curious, I did Google it, and it's Windows XP.
But if you guys have not seen Lord of the Rings, watch Lord of the Rings. It's probably the best 3 movies that you're gonna get.
I can't argue with that. My next movie, though, when I was picking out this list, I wanted to pick a comedy because I like funny things. Maybe you've had a stressful day of Zoom meetings and working on papers. So why not relax a little bit with my personal favorite comedy, The Hangover. Now, I cannot recommend this movie enough. That being said, this movie couldn't have been done. Like, they couldn't have released this movie now because of some of the themes, some of the language they use would have been offensive to many. But, you know, you have Bradley Cooper, who's a good actor, really good actor, playing arguably one of his best roles. Just because I think all of the people in this movie kind of played themselves. Because it's Bradley Cooper, Ed Helms, who is Andy from The Office, in case you've seen The Office. Kind of dorky. Same guy in this movie. He's a dentist in this movie. Really funny. Galifianakis, I think, plays himself. He is the star of the show. He steals it. He sings a lot. He is one of the funniest characters ever written by, I think, any movie ever. It's got Mike Tyson in it. It's about Vegas. You know, what more do you want? It's hilarious. If you haven't seen this movie yet, go see it if you're an adult. It has very adult themes in it. I would not recommend this to a child. But Bradley Cooper, hilarious in it. Everyone in it is hilarious.
All right. Well, I don't think I've ever seen it. I think like I've walked in on my mom watching it one time. She used to love it. And so I've seen like bits and pieces, but I've never seen it all the way through. But I think I might watch it.
You will probably... Okay, there's no in between. You'll either hate it or think it's really funny. I think you'll think Zach Galifianakis' character is hilarious. Because, you know, you like Between Two Ferns,
Yeah,
right?
I do. I love Between Two Ferns.
So he plays himself. Like, that's who he plays in that.
Okay. Well, then I'll definitely watch it. What is it on anything?
It used to be on Netflix, but I don't know if it still is.
Okay, well, we'll see.
You can find it somewhere. I'm sure it's like $3 on Amazon.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got another movie. I got another little thing to talk about. What about the other Batman movie on my list? And we've mentioned it before a little bit. Dark Knight with Christian Bale. How do you think it ranks in terms of Batman movies? Is it the best of all time?
I think I'm going to go a step above you and say, in my eyes, this is the best superhero movie of all time.
Whoo! That is lofty. That is lofty.
I don't want people to get me wrong. I love the Marvel movies. I love the entire series. They have, I have a couple problems with them, but they are just very good. But this is the movie, in my eyes, other than the original Avengers, which I think we're going to talk about. But this is the movie, to me, that really started the superhero craze.
Yeah.
This is 2008. So I think you have a few superhero movies being released at that time, but honestly not that many. And this kind of took superhero movies to the next level. When people saw this, I think the people who now still hate superhero movies hated it then. But most people saw this and said, superhero movies are and can be art. Because this movie is art. Some of the shots in it are unreal. The actors in this movie, who else can play them? That's when I think of like a great role. I try to think, who else could do this? We've seen Batmans. I think this is one of the best Batmans. Christian Bale is one of the best Batmen. Would that be the proper term?
I think it would be the proper term, Batman.
He's one of the best Batmen we've had. And just the environment that they built Gotham around, it fits his personality that he portrays on screen.
Yeah.
And then we have the star of the show, Heath Ledger's Joker. Truly one of the best, if not the best, villain performances we've seen in almost any movie. His the way he puts Joker on screen, it makes it so real. But also where I don't know how to describe his performance other than it's the best. I don't know. I think the argument's there for it's the best performance of the 2000s.
Oh, I think that's easy. That's an easy give to him. He managed to ruin Joker for me. Because I know that no one else will ever be the same or ever be as good. Joaquin Phoenix gave it his best shot. Do I think he did an unbelievable job? Yes. Do I think that he's better than Heath Ledger? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I remember that was my big worry going into this Joker, the new Joker movie was, is it going to be better than Heath Ledger's? And, it wasn't. But that's okay. I'll get over it eventually. Probably not, but I'll say I will. Another thing that I love about this movie is how quotable, like, how many funny scenes it has for such a serious movie. And almost all of them include the Joker.
Yeah. There are a good couple Batman lines in there.
Yeah, but my favorite scene from this entire movie is when the Joker walks in there and he's like laughing. And I don't even want to try his laugh because I'll just sound like an idiot. But he's like explaining to him how he's gonna like kill the Batman for him and how he's got all their money. And the guy's like, "You think you're just gonna steal from us and get away with it?" And he's like, "Yeah." And that's also the magic trick scene where he's like, "I'm gonna make this pencil disappear," and he slams the guy's head on the table. Yeah,
phenomenal.
Another trilogy movie that a lot of people don't like the trilogy as a whole. A lot of people complain about whether it be the first movie or the third movie. I love them. I love this trilogy. It's up there in trilogies for me.
Okay. I can't agree. I think you summed it up perfectly in your first statement. It is the superhero movie that proved to people that superhero movies didn't have to be jokes. And I rest my case on that one.
Yeah, when you have big name directors doing superhero movies now, when you have a great director do a superhero movie, that's when you're like, okay, this is going to be a new generation of movies. And it really did. Superhero movies control the movie discussion, I guess you could say. Okay, guys, our last movie. Well, my last movie of recommendations, and this one is on Netflix. This is my favorite movie ever. Goodfellas. It's a mob movie. If you can't tell by now, I love mob movies. Who doesn't? This one is based on true events, and it has all your great mob movie actors. Joe Pesci is... I don't think this is his best role, but I think it's its second best behind Home Alone.
Yeah, I know Home Alone.
Yeah, this movie is super fast paced. It's long, so it's like 2.5 hours. But I think this movie was like what Wolf of Wall Street is to a different generation. So like, I think my generation and older, and the millennials, their Goodfellas was supposed to be Wolf of Wall Street. And I've watched that movie, and it just doesn't do it for me. Goodfellas, it's high-paced. It's got mobsters, drugs, death, burying bodies. It's great. It's great. It's great. It's great. It's my favorite movie. I can't recommend it enough. It's free on Netflix. What are you waiting for? Go out and watch Goodfellas.
Well, you can't really argue with logic like that. I don't really have anything to add because I have not seen it. But
it's a real shame that you haven't, and I can't recommend it.
Yeah, I think I probably have to watch it. I think I probably have to. But to finish this off, I felt like it was only right. I've given DC a lot of credit in my list, but really and truthfully, me personally, I love superheroes. I don't know if you guys can tell, but my allegiance, if you're in the war, I like Marvel characters a lot better. And so I thought I'd pick my absolute favorite of all time Marvel movie. And I don't think this is an unpopular opinion. Infinity War. I know that Endgame was the biggest crossover event of all time. The most hyped movie, probably, of all time. But Infinity War is just so much better, in my opinion. That was a movie that I was just not prepared for to be that good. And it just holds up. It is probably simultaneously one of the saddest and also the funniest Marvel movie of all time. Definitely got the best action scenes out of any movie. I don't know. I could hear an argument for that's the best action we've ever seen on screen. And I just, my praises never end. There is so much that movie did right. And that's hard for Marvel. Because I'm gonna be honest. Marvel movies have just tons of flaws. There's so many flaws. But I think that Infinity War really shows what Marvel can do. It shows the best of the best. And I think also that has a little bit of something to do with the Russo brothers. They are probably the best directors that Marvel has. All their movies are bops. And they really just knocked this one out of the park for me.
Yeah, so when we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast, movie theater going experiences that are great. This is my number one movie going experience. I will never forget going to see this movie in theaters and seeing it for the first time. It was unbelievable. And I remember walking out of that theater thinking, wow, did I really just watch that happen? It's a great movie. And words can't describe, because this is one movie that even if you really haven't paid that much attention to the MCU, you can still hop in and love it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's the best of the best that Marvel's got. I remember walking out of the theater, and my first thought was, oh my gosh, that's so sad. Did they really kill Spider-Man? My second thought was, holy crap, did I just witness the peak of superhero movies in theaters? Did I just see the culmination of what maybe I shouldn't say superhero, but the best of the best the MCU will probably ever do in theaters? And then I thought to myself, man, Pierce, you're really blinded by hype. But then it got like a couple weeks later, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not taking that back. I think I'm right.
I think that's one of those movies that you'll like tell your kids that you saw in theaters, you know? It'll be like a Star Wars. I think Marvel to the younger generation is like Star Wars to like our parents' generation, where like most people can remember where they were when they saw the movie. Like I will remember where I was when I saw Infinity War.
Yeah, I will remember AMC Columbus when I saw Infinity War. And I think you're right. I think that's like my uncle always tells me about seeing episode 4 in theaters, which, I mean, if you guys don't know, that's the first one. And as a kid, the hype he felt after watching that movie, that Star Wars episode 4, that's going to be the movie that we tell our kids that we saw. You know, it's like we saw Infinity War and Endgame in theaters, and they're going to be like, holy crap, did you really?
Yeah, it's like, you know, the Darth Vader, I am your father reveal.
Yeah.
That's like the snap. That's what the snap will be. Where we'll be like, no one saw it coming, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It was so shocking. But do you have any more recommendations?
I think that's it, really, for movies that I think are all-time greats. But I do have one recommendation that's not an all-time great movie. But if you're like, you guys, this list sucks, I have one recommendation that I watched Monday night. And if you are like me, you halfway care about the Oscars just when there's a movie that you want to win. Like I cared when Get Out was for a chance to win an Oscar. And I cared this year when Joker and 1917 were supposed to win an Oscar. But Parasite won. and I finally sat down and watched it. And I can say it's a fine movie. Not great, but it's fine. And I think it I think it's a watch just for the ending. Once you get over that it's not in English, you can probably like it. But
Yeah.
I was talking to my brother who watches a lot of movies that aren't in English because he likes anime. And I was like, I can't get over that it's not in English. And he was like, yeah, I think it would be like one of your favorite movies if it wasn't in English. If it was in English, and I said I 100% agree. But other than that, it's on Hulu, so Hulu's like $6 a month. If you thought this list was trash, just try that out. I don't know. And if you don't like that, you don't like movies, so get out of here.
Yeah, I think with that, I think we'll have to wrap this thing up. Please follow us on all our social medias. We have a Twitter, we have an Instagram. The links will both be in the description below. Also, we have a Discord. Join our Discord. Discord would be fun, don't you think? Don't you think? I think so. Join our Discord. We can talk.
Yeah, our Discord is a party, and if you disagree with what movies we think are good, hit us up on the Discord, and we'll get in a little typing fight.
We're getting a little heated argument with our fingers.
So, thank you guys so much for listening to us ramble about our favorite movies. We hope you enjoy. See you later.
Bye.